Hey guys. Bill's getting ice. That's all right. Hey Dan, good to see you. Dan Harold, hello. Stephen Lang, g'day. Poppy, I haven't got to it yet, but I haven't seen anyone's. Dan, g'day. 624 Dudley, good morning. Dan the video man. Stuart Hingston, g'day. Good to see you, Poppy. Kevin, g'day. Paul from Necklace Workshop, g'day. Russ Knox, hello. Look, get nothing to show you this week. That's it, we're all over. It's a bit slack, really. I haven't done much constructive workshop stuff this weekend. Even a little bit, to be honest. I'm building a cupboard for work, and we'll have a look at that, but nothing particularly serious. Not a whole lot I've done. Also worked the extra day this week and last week, so that's going to take a minute to catch up on. I can think of a way to get some water in this boiler. We might fire this engine up by way of something to do. But we're not having any luck at all here. Here we go. What else is happening in the big wide world? It's a new engine from Rustanox. Very good series, I thought. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess there are those of you that are off to the bash today or tomorrow. And it's a bit sad that I'm not one of them, but there you go, I guess. There's a video. Not much else happening. See this? I reckon that boiler's full. Interesting, isn't it? There's certainly enough in it to... There's a bit of quality steam engine fireman action happening there. That's how you tell if the boiler's full. There ain't no more water go in it. That's about the limit to my boiler attendant skills. We've got a clean workbench pretty much, which is a bit nothing short of miraculous, to be honest. What we don't have is a spanner for that safety valve. There we go. Until if it's empty. Yeah, that's right. Look, I have a video. It's probably my most viewed videos of making a mini funnel. Should do a proper one again. I probably have 6 of them I've made and quite a few plastic ones. No idea where any of them are. Anyway, let's get a fire in this. This is a Kenneth Wells engine. This is the marine engine. It's a pretty good little runner and a pretty good little build project. If anyone ever thinks they need a project. We're going to need some methylated spirits. There's to drop everything out of the cupboard. That'd be the next interesting thing. Open the door. This thing won't make much difference on the CO2 emissions in this shed, I don't think. There we go. Let's blow ourselves sky high. Hey Raymond. See if we managed to get this in here without actually spilling it everywhere and putting the whole thing up in flames. There we go. This is nearly the sort of the high basic design except for the safety valve, which is a improvement, I think. First quality steam oil. Plenty of steam oil in the place, just don't have a steam oil can at the moment. Might be on the list of things that I need. There's no real oil system on this. So that'll have to do. Pump a bit of oil. Starting to warm up. So there we go. Let's do that. Stuart's got his K and his O mixed back up. No fires here, but we've had fighter jets going over for the last 24 hours or so. Pretty quick. Hey Dreams team, good to see you. So you got 2 early mornings in a row, Stephen. This is a pretty easy engine to build, actually. Pretty nice. Could do with the polish, but most of my steam engines good. That's what the pattern looks like for that. It's good to see you anyway, Dreamsteam. There we go. Mirror. Oh, sorry, the camera's obviously on the wrong corner of the tablet. So that's the. We would have a look at yours, but there's no videos up, Dan, just so everyone knows. So it's a little fairly basic. I think that was my first sort of casting pattern that I ever cast. It's in 2 pieces, so that it's got the centre for the crank and the engine cut out. Hey, Chirpy. Something must be getting hotter. You'll probably see a few more steam engines in the next little while. I've got projects here to finish, and I've got one board in particular I want to finish and put on Myford Boy's little steam engine and put his little bandsaw on it as well. So that'd make a nice little steam plant. One event in particular lined up that I'm going to, and there might be a couple of others too, so we might get some film out of those. So we get a picture of Dan's steam boiler anyway. Yeah, the others are there too, and I'd really like the other ebooks for step-by-step metalwork. I don't know what other projects are in them. I know there's a pop-pop boat that might be fun. Hasn't happened because I've got too many projects as it was. Excellent casting video from Chirp. That's another thing too we saw. Also a couple of good ones from Nackler's Workshop on the one on the MCO thread chasing attachment, which is very interesting. Video today from Art That Makes Art. Where's Billy? If you remember, he was here the other week. Top all-round guy, but he had a video out today on his new Holtz-Apfel plain turning lathe. So go and check that out. It's pretty awesome. I made a post on YouTube about it. Gonna need longer than that to get some heat into that. I think we're getting there. What else? I made a cabinet for work, which is just a storage cabinet. It's about 250, 10 inches wide in black and white, and 600 or 2 foot deep, and about 1400, which is 4'4" tall. Just an MDF, which is pretty ugly. The trick is to fill it up with water from the kettle. That's exactly right, but this was a last minute thing because I never had anything else to share. Other thing, there was a Instagram post and a Discord post. There we go. If you can hear that. And a Facebook post, and not a YouTube post yet, but there was a post about a tool event later on. The next 10 days or so, 9 days time, something like that, next Friday. Not this Friday coming, but the one after. There'll be a video bomb or a video drop sort of an event for the 1st of October. So that's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. There's a condition on it. There is a condition on it, but it's a pretty good fun one. I think everyone will be behind. I'm excited about it. I did have it. I sort of thought about it with a tool I wanted to make in mind, so I got that advantage over all you guys. I know that the few people that I have shared sort of the details with it are on it too, so if anyone really wants a head start, I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't, except that I'm disorganised. Drop us a line, a message or something, and I can let you know the details, and then you can start thinking about it. But the official announcement will be on the 1st, I think, of July. So it's a pretty sweet little engine, this. Can't say enough that Kenneth Wells really knew his stuff. They're starting to take off. This is well designed and something you can make pretty easily. And it's a kind of an all-round foundation course in model engineering. Everything's in it, from silver soldering to soft soldering to sheet metal work to threading and drilling and tapping and lathe work, casting, foundry work. But pretty nice engine. Anyway. The engine's brass mostly. This crank here, if you can see that, no light, sorry guys. This crank steel, the steel crank pin. Stop it and show you. There we go. It's the stop function. Brass conrod and piston, and a brass cylinder, a brass plate on the back. So if that safety valve lifts, it's going to give you or wake everyone up. Bill, the tool quiz is probably very much in your to do with your line of work. That safety lifts. You're going to know about it. But yes, the traction engine and this are in the same book. These are the same bits as the traction engine, the same engine, the same boiler, pretty much. Different burner, different base, different frames, different but yeah, this is a Titch locomotive traction locomotive safety valve, so it's kind of over-engineered for this engine. The one in the book has basically a metal thread countersunk brass screw, and a biro spring, which is not particularly good, and it really doesn't do anything for me as far as being reliable or safe or anything else. So this is a Titch ball safety valve, pop safety valve, and it'll nearly empty that boiler when it blows, but So we'll see if we can lift it. It'll know about it. Book 1, 9 models. Ashtray, teapot stand and shovel. May still have the ones I made my parents. So that's awesome, David. Thanks for the synopsis. Book 2, I think, has a fish rack and a pop-pop boat. I can't remember any of the others. Train users are cringing right now. We're going to see if it pops. Probably won't, but it does. It should. This is set at about 35-40 psi, which is plenty enough. To be honest, the engine runs very comfortably at about 10, so that's really all you need to set the valve at. And if you had the original safety valve, that's about where you would set it, I think. But I think this would run on a model launch or a boat very, very nicely. And that's what it was designed to go in the hull of a boat. Book 2, 8 models, junior hacksaw. May still have. That's awesome. Love to see a video of these, David. There it goes. That's a bit hard on it. I do apologise about the video. It'll settle down, I think. I might not. We'll focus off it a bit. Yeah, try that. But that's good too about, honestly, like I said, that has probably emptied the boiler when that's popped off. Washing machine races. There's some very interesting videos about these on David's channel. You should go and check that out. But I think that's doing about 3.2, something like that, 1,000 revs. A very interesting other project in the book is a rev counter for this, and I never ever. No, the safety valve definitely lifted on that. It's still lifting there. I think we're still getting it, but no, the valve definitely lifted. But nice little engine, good runner, and good fun. I've got the pattern if anyone wants to borrow it. This has got two dowels to hold it together, one there and one there, so you can't get it the wrong way around in the mould, which is kind of important. Probably could 3D print a pattern, and it'd be very, very easy to CAD this up. But I wanted to do it a bit traditional, so that's what we got. So, pretty capable, pretty smooth runner, pretty well balanced little engine, nicely designed with ports and everything. It's kind of it's an all-round winner, you know, and it's finished as nice as a Mammoth or Wellesco or something that you go and spend $500 on and buy. There is also in the book, there's provision just to make this fabricated out of a piece of steel, which is, or a piece of steel brass, I think. So That's probably as easy an option as any. I think it's a folded up. From memory, it's a folded up piece of tin with a brass bush through it. So that's the Titch safety valve, David. It's not bad. In fact, it's fantastic. And Chirpy's on the money there. I've stopped having that conversation because it's difficult to explain, but a wooden pattern rams up way, way better than a 3D print pattern. Every single time. I reckon that boiler's starting to get a bit low. Yeah, I think we're nearly out of steam. I think so. Yeah, I don't know about casting copper tubing. It's fairly simple to make one. This is an odd size copper tube for Australia, so if you're going to build it, that's one thing to look out for whatever's going to happen until you get round to it, is to find yourself a piece of 1¼ inch copper tube. I think it's 1¼ inch. Kimber's Alex, g'day. Book 2, table lamp, towel rail, book rack, junior hacksaw, toast rack, inspection lamp, fish dish, that was awesome, and magazine rack. I think if I built this engine again, I reckon I can get another 1,000 RPM out of it easily, without a whole lot of modification. Some thoughts about that. I reckon it wouldn't take much. A bit of rudimentary balancing, a drill hole in the back of the crank and stuff like that, and you get a lot more speed out of it. So it'd be a cool project to do that one day. But yeah, it doesn't mess around, that engine. It's still in about 800 to 1,000 there, I reckon. And we're out of steam, look at that. Bang! So it's pretty decent sort of a lamp there. Knows how to run. Could do with a polish at some point. This is all stainless steel, and the tools are in the book to make this nice dished holes all along here, and instructions on folding it all up, and it's got rods through here and little brass nuts on each end. Hold this in place, and then there's a band goes across the middle to hold that down, and then the ends are just square pieces of plate that are folded up with a hole in them to retain the boiler. It just slides in. There is a brass bush in this casting in the bottom here, and this little plate bolts on with 2 little screws and nuts for a wear plate. So there's nothing actually rides on the casting, so it doesn't matter much what it is. I didn't know that, David. We'll have to check that out. Hey, John Creasy, good day. The steel frame is probably a pretty good option, but I thought, well, let's make a casting, so we've done that. And it's a pretty little engine, as good as any that you'd buy off the shelf. I think probably better than a Mammoth. Like it. I think the steel frame and the casting one probably may use the same brass bush which is screwed in. I'm not sure about that, but I think they do. The theory was that you made a cradle to operate on this crank pin. I don't know how good that was, and lined it up to drive a steam launch. And steel would probably rust, but it's more oily than wet, to be honest. Most of what I'm mopping up off the floor is oil rather than actual water. I think that's going to be hot. I didn't think that through. Watch this pop through the ceiling. So got a bit of calcification and going on there. I don't like that much. We might have to descale this boiler this time. I've got to depart. But there's a bit of lime scale or something there off some water. Don't know. But it's been a while since it was running. This has got a little ball in it, and it's got a screw down top on it, and a little shaft with a cap that the V point in it to locate the ball, and then a big spring on it, or a little spring. So that's the design I went through. It's the same thread, and it doesn't look out of place. My traction engine's got one the same. Bill. Yeah, I hope you're doing all right, Dan. You didn't get burnt too bad. But anyway, that's it. The other stupid thing is that, honestly, if I was making this tank again, I would put a screw-in plug here, because every time you move, you lose this plug and you've got to make a new one. And I haven't done it this last time. So probably a screw-in plug or a hinge plug or something on here would be really nice, or something that's a bit tighter fit than what it was. It's still got to have an air hole in it so that the tank empties, but this is all remaining fuel out of the tank. If it's a problem, and I don't think it's it's not hydroscopic probably, so I don't think it'd rust. It's brass anyway. I generally leave this in here. It will just tip out, or you can leave it burning. But I don't think there's anything left in the boiler. So probably some hot water and a funnel and some like descaling compound might make a difference to that. Well, you can thank David for sorting this out, so that my original book that I paid a fortune for is probably not worth anything now. But besides that, even if you've got an original, sort of either get the ebook or the reprint, because it's much nicer in the workshop. Mine's been in the workshop for 2 complete builds, this one and the traction engine. And I sort of tossed around with ideas to make a roller conversion as well, but it never ever happened, and I'm not sure whether I would ever tackle another one. I've got the tubing here to do it, and probably somewhere in the cupboard I've got most of the engine bits, because I might have made a couple at a time, but I can't see myself. I never really found a roller design that looks good on the traction engine, so. Anyway, anyone who made one of these at school, it's hats off to them, because it was quite a project. I don't think I would have had a hope. And that was school in the late 80s, you know, high school. This could do with the polish. A few finger marks and things on the stainless steel where it's been hot. John made the 10V at school. Overachiever as always. But that's awesome. I struggle to make one in the home workshop now. See, the Stewart's a fairly fiddly little engine. I'm not sure if I would ever attempt that even. It'd be nice if I had nothing else to do, but at this moment there's too many projects. Full set of Rex Hunt fishing magazines. That's an offer that very, very few people would be able to turn down. Who got first prize, John? It's really not a bad effort, but who got first prize, and what on earth did they do? Favouritism, you're saying it was rigged. Must have been, I guess. No, the kid probably had Mr. Pete as a teacher. Yeah, I can see that it probably doesn't sit as well as it could. That would be a really good improvement, or even a. Oh, you see 1,000 of them that have just got a cork in here, and that's probably plenty good enough, and probably a better answer than actual this. What would probably be a good option is to make one with an O-ring groove in it that slides in there nicely. It's a bit above my pay grade, but that might be a good option too. Cork on a chain would do just as well. That's right. That's exactly right. You could even put a chain and a ribbon, like a U series drive nail in the top of the cork. So this burner is pretty simple, and it's actually a pretty good design burner. And designing burners isn't the easy thing that you would think it would be. Actually, it just looks like 4 bits of pipe soldered up, but there's more to it than that. Seriously, this has been probably 12 months since it had a run. I don't think this has had a run since I've been in this shop. It still had a bit of fuel in it, so it holds about half an egg cupful. So evaporation's really not a huge issue, to be honest. So there you go. That's the KW Marine engine. It's pretty nice. I think it could have been better designed here. There was a thing in the book, a power takeoff for this to run a prop shaft, which was probably probably it works better than it looks, but I never ever made one. And there was a rev counter in the book too for pressure testing, and a test rig for setting boilers and safety valves. So all that's there. Everything you need to get this going's in the book. It's just got a little brass nut on here. There's a spring in the back, and a nut, a little knurled nut, and then this cylinder, which is actually a piece of brass plate that's filed up. And that's just soft soldered together. It's got a little hole in there. It's got a flat soldered on here, so you get that in the centre. And then this is tapped through into, but not right through, but it's got a shallow tap. This is actually pretty clever because this is tapped before you soft solder this on, and then or drilled before you soft solder that on, and then it's tapped, and that way this doesn't go in so deep that it goes right through the cylinder. So it's pretty bomb proof for kids. This one's drilled from the front right through, and then there's a cap soldered in it. To mark these two holes, you put this on, and all this is really it's a taper on here and dry fit and a sort of a two-stage hole. So it's pretty clever the way that's put together. And then this one's the same, so they're just a push fit, they're just press fit together on a sort of a taper. It seems to be bomb proof. I really like that as a design. But there's a bush that screws in from the back. It's got a slot in the back, so you just screw it in with a screwdriver. So when you set this up, see it's got an oil groove in the piston. I think that's silver steel, that rod there. And then this is adjustable for length. Probably should have a nut on there. I don't think it ever got one. Probably the traction engine does. It never seems to have moved. And to mark the timing, you just put all this together like that. And turn him to this point here. And mark this through here with a sharp scriber or a little bit of rod with a point on it. And then you set this over here and you mark it again. So that gives you your 2 points for your ports, and that's as simple as that. So it's really, really clever. It's a Pretty smart little engine, to be honest. And then afterwards you either screw a bung in there or you just run a bit of soft solder across it, and that fixes that problem. This has got a section filed in here, so there's some precision, like some good filing exercises in this too. You could probably mill this. Not sure if I did or not, but it was a 10-minute job to file, the one I did do. So this just goes back on here, like so. And then this little nut, which has got a knurl around it, which is a bit flash. Just goes back on. Mammods were a pretty good engine, but I think this as far as design, the traction engine's, it's got some silly little design problems. It feels a bit like it's an afterthought in some parts, but not even that. It's good, but there was no option for a casting for the engine frame, and I made the mistake of making the engine frame for the traction engine out of brass, and when it gets hot it expands and seizes up. So probably if I did it again, I'd make it out of steel, and that wouldn't be as much of a problem, I don't think. Used to be able to make sharp things. Oh, you can make sharp things. That's good. You make excellent videos though, which is something I'm not real good at. My video making capabilities have sort of reached a high point about a little while ago, and that was it. I've not seen the new Mammoth design. They seem to fetch big dollars, and you can build this, which is very similar to Little Mammoth, the early Mammoth marine engine. You can build this for, honestly, a fraction of the price. It's just scrap laying around, really. There's none of this that you would ever actually have to go out and buy. Probably a length of silver steel if you had never had all the sizes. But these three bits are all the same size, and this one's a little bit bigger. This is just sheet brass. This is sheet steel, just black mild steel, and this is a piece of sheet stainless. This here is just a piece of gow folded up. It's got countersunk screws in the bottom of it. It's got 2 screws there to bolt it down to the engine, I guess. Or bolt it into the boat. And these 2 screws here actually anchor down the boiler. If you undo these, then that boiler band lifts up, and then you can just slide the boiler out. But you've got to desolder this to get that out, or undo this. And I think if you undo this first and push that back and twist it out of the way, then the boiler will slide out in one piece. Mightn't hurt to pull it apart and give it a clean, but these are just brass nuts made up as a little basic turning engine job. Watch for a Mammoth Sterling. That's a bit sort of. Anyway, that's a pretty fun little job. If you're looking for a boiler for a steam engine build, you can't go much wrong with that. Everything's there, and you end up with a project that is kind of every bit as nice as a bought one, to be honest. Probably better. in a lot of ways. And I think that safety valve blew off at about 30-35 psi, so sort of you don't want to do that very often. Don't know what else. That cupboard over there, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry about the fingerprint. There's the side of it there. It's pretty rough bit of MDF carpentry. Pretty rough. Tin of varnish there. I was going to varnish it again tonight, but I don't think I'm going to be bothered. Very good videos from David about that. If you're interested in the history of these, don't be afraid to go and check them out. They're well worth a look. Nothing from John Creasy lately. I think he's busy doing things. Probably things like work. I feel for him a bit. I'm back to 5 days, and that's probably enough for me. Other updates, nothing. Haven't got a bottle of gas yet, so we haven't been doing any welding. I did mess around and I haven't really done much at all. But we're working on this as well. That's sort of coming up all right, I think. It's another project. It's a bit dark, I don't like it. There's too much red in it and it needs a bit of a touch up in places, but it's not too shabby for a serif font. It's nicely spaced and everything. Just the brushwork's a bit rough in places because I was impatient. Anyway, there's a video event. I think I said something about it before, but there's a video event that I'm going to be hosting. I will send an email out to as many creators as I can before I release the video. That's a promise that I've made in the past and not been particularly good with, but I will do that. So that's for a Steam event down in New South Wales. I'll probably end up in Dan's shed, hanging on the wall if I don't bring it home. So I better make it half nice. It is green though, I apologise for that, it's fairly green. Yeah, video event. Sort of trip it off and announced on the 1st of July to upload videos on the 1st of October, is that right? I think so, the 1st of October. Details to come. There'll be a particular type of tool and very limited sort of very broad, I guess, sort of a criteria for it. But it should be good fun. And open to woodworkers and metalworkers and anyone else who wants to have a bit of a go. So if you know anyone who's not part of the whole YouTube Machinist circle who wants to sort of grow their channel a bit, and I think it probably does grow your channel a little bit, we'll have a hashtag and we'll release them all at once, and then at least it's trending on you. The hashtag's trending on YouTube, and you end up with a few new viewers getting to appear in there in a suggested list that don't usually. So you should get some more views if you've got a half decent video. That's the idea behind it, anyway. So that'll be a thing. I know everyone's got plenty to do, but there's a few people have asked me about it and what we're going to do and whether it's going to happen. Details to come, still working out some of them, but I've got most of it sorted. So really appreciate everyone who tunes in. It's embarrassing to make a funnel out of this. I guess it's like smoking $100 notes. It's the back page of a Snap-on invoice. There you go. Not a purchase I make very often. Dream Steam's the other one that you should go and check out. That's a very good channel on small scale steam. Dan Shed as well. Go and check him out. Who else? Machine NZ. You should go and subscribe to Machine NZ. He might make another video for us. Tea and Biscuits, same deal. You should go and subscribe to him and Creasy's Workshop. He makes really good videos. He's very personable on camera. So you should go and check him out. I saw you just seen your comment, Paul. Good question about that. No idea. Chirpy's got a new video on casting back at the hand plane, the second hand plane. The second one that he's made, not a second hand plane. That was out this week. Kimber's Alec, good videos there too. You should go and check his channel out. Who else? Bill Baggins, you should check his channel out. It's a very good channel. He might actually make another video. Knackler's Workshop too. Don't know, I've missed a lot of people, I think. But anyway. Unofficial Mammoth and other Steam forums are a very good forum as far as forums go. It's actually run by someone who actually cares about it, I think. It's not too bad. I struggle a bit with forums because a couple of reasons. There are problems with forums. First is that anyone can join up and hide behind a faceless avatar and no real accountability for what you say or what you do. So you get all sorts of idiots who basically are there for laughs, and their idea of a fun time is probably not the same as some people's idea. So I find that there's a bit of bullying and that sort of thing happens regularly in different forums. The Unofficial Mammoth forum doesn't have that to a certain extent. It's certainly a lot better than some forums. The other issue I have with forums is that you've got to upload your photos or videos somewhere and then link to them, and that becomes complicated and cumbersome and difficult. And even if you have like some sort of a photo sharing system that works, if you don't believe in social media and you're on a forum, then you end up with PhotoBucket or something and everything's got watermarks on it and almost everything's impossible to even look at because it's behind a paywall, etc, etc, etc. So that's another reason I don't particularly like forums. Another thing I think in this day and age is that I forget to go and check on posts. So very, very rarely there's a forum that I check in every day, you know. That's one of the ones that I do check in occasionally too, but it's very occasionally, and that's an issue. Whereas Facebook groups and things like that, and I know there's a lot of people who are against that as a principle, but at least most people who are members are actually there every day, which is good. But anyway, that's my whinge about forums. There was a good Facebook group. You should check that out. It's called YouTube Machinists. John Creasy runs it, and it's fantastic. But yes, there's still forums out there. They feel like they're a bit dead. I joined Traction Talk the other week, over the course of the last 5 months, something like that, 6 months, I've actually become a member of Traction Talk because it took that long to get approved. And to be honest, their Facebook group is much more active. The Home Model Engine Machinist group is pretty good. Very helpful bunch of guys. The Mammoth group is really good as well. There's another one that Red Rider runs that went out in sort of in defiance to Tapper Talk, which is the organisation that runs most of these forums, and it makes it a bit difficult because you end up with the whole Big Brother complex that you get in Facebook, only more so. But that's all political. Sorry I said too many times. I'm not very good at that. Anyway, Paul's out. Take care. I could wax lyrical on forums, and there is a lot of bullying in some of the machinist forums in particular because they're industry forums. Same with watchmaking forums, and probably the same with woodworking forums, is that the industry forums tend to have a lot of people who are very jealous of what they do, and it's a very grudging thing to share any knowledge on account of it might be detrimental to business, and that's a bit stupid, really. But there you go. And Bill's drinking whiskey. Anyway, I might call it 2. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's very awesome to catch up with you all, hear what you're all doing, etc., etc., etc. But forums are a bit old-fashioned, and they're kind of cool, and they're usually meeting points of people who really know their subject, and they're a bit one-eyed as far as their interests. So it's a really good place to get information. Yeah, that's exactly right. 5 answers later, and you've got another thread that doesn't make any sense at all or have any relation to the first one. But anyway, make a YouTube video, get it out there. Someone will watch it. I'm going to call it. Thanks for joining in. Said that before. Really appreciate everyone's friendship. There will be, at the end of next week, a video about the hashtag event, whatever it is. Still got to think of a hashtag. If anyone's got any ideas for that, jump on Discord or Messenger or whatever and let me know. John Creasy, you're my go-to hashtag guy. I've got some ideas, but there you go. I'm out, and be kind to each other. Don't forget to like and subscribe to everyone who's in the chat tonight. And More soon, guys and girls.